لقد من الله على المؤمنين إذ بعث فيهم رسولا من أنفسهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة وإن كانوا من قبل لفي ضلال مبين.
نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على سيدنا ومولانا محمد رسوله النبي الأمين المكين الحنين الكريم الرؤوف الرحيم. Dear audience, participants and students, Alhamdulillah Ta'ala, today I'm going to explain some important features of the basic thought or basic ideology of Minhaj-ul-Quran. As we discussed the subject of 5 basic objectives of Ta'alluq Billah and Rabt Risala and Ruju' ila al-Quran, relationship with Almighty Allah and relationship with Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and relationship with Holy Quran and propagation of knowledge, ilm, and struggle for, and then al-muakhat, brotherhood, and struggle for renaissance of Islam. So all these 5 or 6 points, which are the basic ingredients, or you can say the major constituent elements of our ideology. And then certain books I will also read, teach for you just as reading and qiraat, so that you may get ijazah, certain books. A few hadiths from Bukhari, a few from Muslim, and from Riyaz al-Salihin and some Shifa and these kind of things, so that you may get the ijazah in a pure classical way of muhaddithin. You know, this is a tahreek for the revival of Islam, for renaissance of Islam, and it is in Holy Quran where the purpose of the raising of Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is mentioned. وَالَّذِي أَرْسَلَ رَسُولَهُ بِالْهُدَى وَدِينِ الْحَقِّ لِيُظْهِرَهُ عَلَى الدِّينِ كُلِّهِ. So Almighty Allah states, Wallazi, indeed He is the God who raised His holy messenger Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to the mankind along with divine guidance and the deen of Islam, al-Huda and deen al-Haq, the true religion, deen of Islam, which is ultimate truth, and al-Huda, which is the ultimate guidance, divine guidance. These 2 things were provided to Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and then he was raised with these 2 things as a messenger to the mankind. And then the purpose of his raising has been specifically mentioned. First portion of this verse deals with the mentioning of his raising, that he was raised as a messenger. Then it is stated that he was given 2 things. Then it is mentioned why was he raised to the mankind, the purpose of his raising. It is maqsad, his objective of his bi'sa, the purpose and objective of his raising, his bi'sah, and that is لِيُظْهِرَهُ عَلَى الدِّينِ كُلِّهِ, so that this deen of Islam may be uplifted, may be upgraded, and may be enforced in the life, and may be given the upper position or respectful position, enforcing position in this world. This deen may be placed at a higher position of enforcement. لِيُظْهِرَهُ عَلَى الدِّينِ كُلِّهِ. So we would say that so that this deen may be made dominant over other religions. Yani this deen may be uplifted predominantly. Dominantly, it may be uplifted dominantly, so that it may dominate other ideologies, other systems of lives, other theories of life, other philosophies of life. The philosophy given through Islam, the philosophy of life, in the form of al-hidayah and deen, the system, the code, that may be predominantly followed. So these are various interpretations of لِيُظْهِرَهُ عَلَى الدِّينِ كُلِّهِ. It may become the dominant deen of the world. It may become the enforceable deen of the world. It may be placed at a respectful place in this world, or it may be enforced in the lives of the people. Meaning thereby it may become a living force of the life, human life, a living force. So these are the objectives of the raising, yani bi'sa, of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Instead of going into the philosophical details, I will just refer, after this Quranic verse, I will just refer to some ahadith of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So I am quoting now a hadith of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam on this subject. Gave many important statements mentioning the importance and significance of the struggle in this direction for uplift of ummah, uplift of spiritual values, uplift of the commandments of Allah and His Holy Prophet, enforcement of Allah's commandment, enforcement of Sharia, enforcement of the struggle for the renaissance and revival of the Islamic and spiritual values. So this is a blessed struggle, and particularly important good news and good tidings have been given for ummah by the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in regarding this kind of spiritual struggle in the last centuries or last days or the last period of this ummah, last period of Islamic history. Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the first very important hadith on this subject which I am going to quote is, it is reported by Muawiyah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. He said that I heard Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, La yazalu min ummati ummatun qa'imatun. Now I am interpreting and explaining that Quranic verse, that the purpose and objective of raising of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was to provide the guidance to the mankind, because he was raised with that divine guidance, al-huda wa deen al-haq, and to provide the deen of Islam in the form of a practical code of life that was in the form of Holy Quran, the teachings of Quran, and his own sunnah and seerah. So he gave a detailed, practical and elaborate demonstration of Deen of Islam and commandments of Almighty Allah. So these two basic sources of guidance were provided to the mankind. And the raising of Holy Prophet ﷺ was to provide this dominant position, to provide a dominant position to Islam so that it may become a living force in our lives. It may be able to be enforced as a system from our individual spheres of our life up to the social and collective spheres of human life. So it may become an order of the society. It may become a societal order of human beings, of Islamic community. So Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim both, they have written full chapters on this caption in Kitabul Imara. This is Sahih Muslim. The chapter's caption heading is La tazalu ta'ifatum min ummati zahirina alal haq la yadurruhum man khalafahum. The statement of the Prophet ﷺ is that a group of my followers will remain victorious and on the right path. Zahirina alal haq will remain victorious. They have translated the translator of the Al-Lu'lu' wal Marjan. They will remain victorious, or they will remain strong enough on path of Islam, or their loyalty and their struggle for the path of Islam would be uncompromising. This is what ummati zahirina alal haq, these terms do mean. Their practice on Islam, their propagation, their struggle for its uplift of haq, Islam, that would be uncompromising. And they will always struggle for its uplift and enforcement to make it a dominant deen of the world. Their opponents shall not be able to do them any harm. This is the chapter. The hadith which I am going to quote is An Muawiyah qala sami'tu an-nabiyya sallallahu alayhi wa sallam yaqulu la yazalu min ummati ummatun qa'imatun bi amrillah la yadurruhum man khazalahum wala man khalafahum hatta ya'tiyahum amrullah wa hum ala dhalik. This hadith of Holy Prophet ﷺ is narrated by Hazrat Muawiyah, his companion. He says, I heard the Prophet ﷺ saying that a group of people amongst my followers, La yazalu min ummati ummatun, will remain obedient to Allah's order, will remain on the following strictly Allah's book and Quran and Prophet's Sunnah, and they will not be harmed by anyone. Ummatun qa'imatun bi amrillah, that this group will always be practicing Muslims, and they will remain obedient and submissive to my orders, loyal to my deen, my amr, my commandment, and they will always remain practicing my deen and struggling for the uplift, enforcement of Allah's amr. La yadurruhum man khazalahum wala man khalafahum. And any enemy who will they will not be harmed by anyone who will try to harm them. And or by anyone who will try to oppose them. They will never be harmed by those who will try to harm them or who will try to oppose them. By their opponents, by their enemies, they will never be harmed. Till Allah's order, till the day of judgment arrives, comes upon them while they are still on the right path. This hadith has been reported by Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim both. The word Zahirina al-Haq, this is something you can say additional and something more than just propagation and just practicing. Zahirina al-Haq, this word, and I quoted the verse of Holy Quran, لِيُظْهِرَهُ عَلَى الدِّينِ كُلِّهِ. Here the dominance of Islam in your lives, in the society, in human community, in this world, in any form, this is the message, basic message given by Almighty Allah, and the same message is being passed by Holy Prophet ﷺ to his ummah. Zahirina al-Haq. So one thing is just to practice. This is an individual effort. You pray 5 times a day, you fast, you go and perform Hajj, you give zakat and sadaqah and charity to the poor people, you always avoid from haram, you practice halal, and you practice the commandments of Sharia individually in your own life. This is amilina al-haq. Amilin. You are practicing Islam. One thing is to be a non-practicing Muslim, one thing. Just you invoke and you recite the kalima and you believe you are Muslims and you believe in the Islamic faith and just you become a part of the Muslim Ummah. But you don't practice Islam in your life. This is one aspect. But the better aspect is you practice Islam. You become a practicing Muslims. 2 things. These are 2 categories of Muslims. The first category are fasiqeen. They have transgressed and they have not respected the commandments of Allah. They have not honored the commandments of Allah. And Almighty Allah will not honor them. They will not be honored by Allah's promise. They won't be benefited by Allah's promise and His blessings in the day of judgment. And they will go to the hell because they violated and neglected the commandments of Allah and His Holy Prophet ﷺ. And the basic objective which Holy Prophet ﷺ was raised for. First category. They are fasiqeen. Now you become amilin, mu'minin, muslimin, amilin. Now you become a practicing Muslims. This is 1 grade higher than that. You at least fulfill the basic condition of Islam. So you entered into the ambit of Islam by reciting and invoking the kalima of Islam, then practicing the 5 times prayer, then by fasting the month of Ramadan, then paying the charity, the zakat, and then performing the Hajj. After your shahada, bearing the witness for Allah's oneness and Holy Prophet's prophethood and messengership. So these are the 5 basic pillars of Islam. You practice in your life. And then you practice, differentiate the halal and haram in your life by your practice. So you try to practice the commandments of Sharia as much as possible. So this is 1 higher grade. You have become amilin, practicing Muslims. Now there is a 3rd category. There is propagating Muslims. So after practicing it, you are propagating it too. So you are performing your duty of da'wah. This is what Holy Prophet ﷺ's sunnah is. He was raised and he was made a da'i. So he created a system of da'wah in his life. This is the call of Islam. Call the people towards the path of Allah. towards path of your Lord. So he invoked da'wah. He enforced da'wah. He gave a call to the people towards Allah, towards His Risala. So this is something more than just practicing in your own life. So through da'wah you try to involve other people in that blessings, in that Allah's practicing of Allah's commandment. So this is a propagation. Holy Prophet ﷺ was raised for this purpose too. So this was included, the primary objectives of his raising. Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu inna arsalnaka shahidam wa mubashiram wa nadhiram wa da'iyan ilallahi bi'iznihi. He was made witness on the people, on his ummah. He brought good, glad news and glad tidings and glad news for his ummah if they become obedient servant to Allah and if they follow Holy Prophet's sunnah and if they accept Allah's commandment in their life. So there is a good news for the reckoning of the Day of Judgment. Then Nadhiran, he frightens the people if they become transgressors, violators, sinners. If they commit sins, violation, if they become disobedient to Almighty Allah's commandments, so there is a bad news for them in life hereafter. So he is Nazir. Then he says, Da'iyan ilallahi bi'iznihi. Along with this Shahada, Shahidan, wa Mubashiran, with Bishara, the good news, and Naziran, and his Inzar. All these responsibilities or duties which are being performed by Holy Prophet ﷺ, these are the parts and parcels of his status, of his position of being Da'i, Da'wah, given by Holy Prophet ﷺ. Da'iyan ilallahi bi'iznihi. With Allah's izn, with Allah's pleasure, with Allah's guidance, with Allah's commandment, with His amr. He has been raised to the mankind as a da'i. He gives a call to the people towards Almighty Allah. So this is da'wah. So this is something higher than being just a practicing Muslim. That you propagate. So you are propagating Muslims. You are calling other people to this good cause. This word Zahirin alal haq, this includes being practicing Muslims, being propagating Muslims, and something else, something additional to that. The meanings of Zahirin is not just fulfilled with these two conditions. It includes at least three conditions. They would remain practicing Islam in their lives. They would remain propagating, preaching and propagating Islam, continuously remain advancing the da'wah of Islam to other people. Two things. And three, Zahirina alal haq requires the third thing. They will strive and struggle for the dominance of Islam in their lives and in society. In their own lives, in their society, and in human communities for their betterment. And this is of course a peaceful struggle. Somebody can say here, just write it down. Somebody may object, somebody may criticize this concept. Struggle for the dominance of Islam. They say it means you are fanatic people and you are doing jihad and you want to make your Islam a dominant religion all over the world. Answer is that if this struggle for the good cause of Islam is bad, so are you not struggling for dominance of democracy? Struggle for any kind of struggle for good cause becomes, or this, why this can be or is being termed as a negative thing. You struggle for democracy. Are you not struggling for that? For the enforcement of democracy? You are not trying the people to adopt the democratic systems in their lands, in their countries? So whether would we say that they are fanatic people? Are you not struggling and striving and struggling for the uplift of human rights? The answer is yes. Are you not struggling for the uplift of justice, social justice in this world? This is an answer when you will discuss the Islamic philosophy and ideology. So you may be criticized. So I am giving the answer, explaining to you how you have to defend the cause of Islam. So the Western people and the non-Islamic authorities or countries or powers, they struggle. Why this UNO is formed? To enforce the democracy all over the world. So what is the problem all over the world now with them is to eradicate the terrorism. You are struggling for eradication of terrorism. This is what Islam wants. So here is a struggle for good cause. You are giving a call, this is da'wah. What is this call for? This call is for eradication of terrorism. Isn't it a call? It is. You are calling the nations, the people of the world for practicing for human dignity, for protecting and promoting human rights in your societies, for the enforcement of socio-economic justice in your society, for promotion of education. You are fighting against illiteracy and ignorance, the darkness of illiteracy. You are trying to uplift something. What? That is literacy rate. You are trying to uplift the literacy rate by eradication of illiteracy and ignorance. So you are struggling for the human values according to your own definition. You are struggling for so-called just system in this, to bring a just system in this world. You are struggling to eliminate the discrimination of sex. Put all their terminologies in one bag. You are struggling for this. You are struggling for eradication of dictatorship. And you have killed thousands and thousands of people in various countries to eliminate dictatorship. We don't say, we don't comment further that what was the end and what was the objective and what was the ultimate aim, what was the ultimate result. What did emerge out of the whole phenomena? We are not discussing this matter. We are taking it academically. Just what do you say? You say that we want to eradicate the dictatorship from this world. We want to provide the people with just, democratic, peaceful system. We want to provide the people with their rights, basic fundamental rights. We want the people to get rid of discrimination of sex and this and that, and discrimination of the tribal, you can say, tides, and discrimination of other undemocratic things. So if you fight for all these things, it doesn't become fanaticism. Islam fights for the same. Islam fights for the morality, fights for spiritual uplift of man. Islam fights, struggles, asks us to give call to the people so that they may become an obedient servant to their Lord. They may accept the religious and spiritual values which Almighty Allah has given to His creatures. Uplift of Islam means uplifting of the socio-economic justice. Uplift of Islam or struggle for Islam means to liberate the mankind from human dominions, to make them free, to emancipate them from all wrong pressures, exploitations, to provide them economic justice, to eradicate economic exploitation, to eradicate all acts which are against human dignity, morally and spiritually and ethically. So Islam has its own spiritual message. peaceful message, so that the people may become the practicing Muslims. The people may practice human rights. Islam has given the human rights, does not only believe in, rather we say Islam is the religion which gave human rights to the mankind, which introduced the fundamental human rights to the mankind. So the first thing was, I told you, to practice Islam, the second to propagate it, and third to struggle for its uplift, to struggle for its dominance, to struggle for its enforcement, to struggle for making it a living force in human life, in our societies, to making it a living force and a societal, practical societal order. It is stated, Mallam yahkum bima anzalallah fa ulaika humul kafirun. Those who don't enforce the commandment of Almighty Allah, the commands of Almighty Allah, they are unfaithful, who are not doing justice with Allah's commandment. They are unjust with Allah's commandments. This is zalimeen. So Holy Prophet said, Zahirina alal haq. So they will struggle for uplift of Islam, for promotion of Islam. They will struggle for making Islam a living force of the human society, so that the human beings and human societies may benefit from the peaceful spiritual message of Islam. They may benefit from the peaceful spiritual message of Islam. They may benefit from its hidayah and its deen. That's why Holy Prophet ﷺ brought these two blessings for the mankind. So Holy Prophet says here that they will remain struggling for this haqq, for this ultimate truth. They will continue their struggle for this truth, for this deen. And the people will try to stop them, but their efforts will not harm them. The people will try to damage them, they will try to degrade them, they will try to insult them. Man khazalahum, they will try to insult them, but they will not be insulted with their unholy efforts. They will not be harmed with their efforts. Their struggle will still continue, and they will remain on right path, and they will continue to work and to struggle for that right path. Holy Prophet ﷺ said that a group in my ummah will remain till the day of judgment struggling for this good cause. This is a hadith which is muttafaq alayh, unanimous hadith of Bukhari and Muslim, which Holy Prophet announced. So in every century, every period of this ummah or history of Islam, the people tried for this, to act upon this advice and to prove themselves to be that group. The people have been struggling, have been striving and struggling and working for themselves, to prove themselves to be that group, which Holy Prophet ﷺ has specifically and expressly mentioned in this hadith. Now there is another hadith, again that is unanimous, muttafaq alayh, and that is reported by Mughira bin Shu'bah. He says, this is narrated by Mughira bin Shu'bah. Prophet ﷺ said, there will remain, La yazalu nasun min ummati zahirina hatta ya'tiyahum amrullah wa hum zahirun. They will remain victorious and on the right path, zahirin, both things, victorious. I would say they will remain struggling for the victory of Islam. What is the victory of Islam? So that Islam may become a living force of our life. It may be enforced. It may be benefited from. This is the victory. And it may become a dominant living religion of the world. It may continue as a dominant living religion. Christianity, as far as the number of the followers, just in names, is concerned, till today, this is the largest, the biggest religion of the world. Then comes Islam. But is that dominant? Is a living force? No, it is just all those people who claim to be Christians, the overwhelming majority of the followers of Christianity are not practicing. This is just a label, just a name which they have, that we are Christians. We believe in Jesus Christ, nothing else. Thus, they are Christians because they believe in Jesus Christ. Because some of us go to the church on every Sunday. Most of them don't. This is what means Zahirina alal haq. Islam, they won't allow Islam to be turned into this condition. That the people would say, we are Muslims, and some of us go to the mosque on every Friday, and not the majority. And we believe we are Muslims. Why? We believe in Holy Prophet. We believe in Islam. We believe in Quran. If this is the condition, or Islam turns into this condition, then it means that nobody is Zahirin alal haq. No group of peoples or groups of peoples are not working for the uplift of the cause of Islam, for the victory of Islam. Victory of Islam means its dominance and continuity. Its continuity in its dominance. Continuity in becoming or remaining as a dominant force, dominant system of our life. So Holy Prophet ﷺ said in this hadith, La yazalu nasun min ummati zahirin hatta ya'tiyahum amrullah wa hum zahirun. That they will remain victorious and on the right path. Some people from my followers. It means there will be some jamaats, some groups, some organizations, some people from my ummah. Not everyone. Not everyone. Not the whole of ummah. People from my ummah. They will continue their struggle in this direction. Till Allah's order in the day of judgment arrives. And they will still be victorious. And they will still be working and struggling for it. This is the second hadith of Holy Prophet ﷺ, and this is again muttafaq alayh, a unanimous one. So we conclude this talk on these two hadiths, and inshallah we will start its next subject in our next episode now. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ.
طلع